Overall, Rocksteady have absolutely nailed the Batman franchise and made it feel just like it should.
Would you want to do another Batman game?
Yeah, I'd love to at some point, you know. But I've learned a lot off this one, so I'm sure that if we ever talked about a second one, I'd have a lot to bring to it.
And now that Arkham Asylum is out, what's in store for the future? How would a sequel be?
I want to see some villains we haven't seen appear in other media.
First of all, I don't want it to be in Arkham Asylum. I want it to be in Gotham City. I want the gameplay to be more like Assassin's Creed than Metroid.
We already know that this game is the first step to making more free-roaming Batman games, so why not throw Gotham City in?
I would like to see a little bit more from the detective side of Batman.
I want the main villain to actually be Ra's al Ghul, with a same type premise that Ra's al Ghul does something massive and Ra's al Ghul has this gigantic plot.
Arkham Asylum is about Batman in the world of his villains, and this game would be about the villains in Batman's world.
The excitement for a sequel to Arkham Asylum was brewing among fans who played the game throughout the fall of 2009. Very quickly, the community began speculating on whether or not the game would get a sequel and what Rocksteady would do for Arkham Asylum 2. Many were hoping it wouldn't be set on Arkham Island again, as that would get repetitive. The more obvious and desired choice of a setting for most was Gotham City, but this posed an issue to some. If the game would be set within the city, it would end up being way less detailed and not as focused as the first, though others understood this wouldn't be an issue if the game took inspiration from a story like No Man's Land and isolated a portion of the city. The days, weeks, and months went by as more people got their hands on Arkham Asylum, and everyone excited for Rocksteady's next outing, less than 4 months after the game's release, would be presented with this.
World premiere.
This next project clearly would be a direct sequel to Arkham Asylum, though the asylum did look a bit different. The teaser takes us through a riot going on in Gotham City and into some sort of factory or other industrial building, looking like it was converted into more of a circus belonging to the Sionis family, as the sign says. As we keep moving through the building, the final shot of the trailer is where we meet Harley Quinn and a sick-looking Joker. To us looking back in hindsight, it's clear that this teaser was trying to convey that Arkham has moved. As mentioned earlier, it hadn't even been 4 months yet since fans had gotten Arkham Island under control, and already their minds were set on the next big thing within this franchise. Plenty of people were a little confused as to what Arkham has moved is supposed to mean. Is this factory turned into an amusement park, the new asylum, or a larger section of Gotham? Maybe Crime Alley would be the new location, as it would be personal to Bruce Wayne. Now, I'm sure most of you noticed that at the end of the teaser trailer, Arkham Has Moved is revealed to be a website. Unfortunately, the archive links of the domain on the Wayback Machine are useless nowadays, but thankfully fans created videos about the site, which allows us to see the initial design of it. At first, the site wasn't working properly for everyone who searched it up immediately after the VGA reveal, but once whatever issues were sorted out, they were met with a twist on the Uncle Sam We Want You poster. People quickly started theorizing that this was a reference to Two-Face because the character on the billboard was half screwed up. Apart from someone thinking it could be a reference to Hush, basically everyone knew the site was teasing Two-Face. Then a couple days later, the site was updated, giving you the option to play the teaser trailer, which would cause the billboard to fall down, along with an option to register for any updates. A day after that, according to this forum message, the site was updated again, and instead of the Two-Face billboard, the trailer would just play, and when done, it would take you to a sick Joker and let you either register for updates or watch the trailer again. Because of the Sionis building and the Iceberg Lounge making appearances in the trailer, speculations about Black Mask and the Penguin being villains in the sequel, apart from Two-Face, Harley, and Joker, were made. Speaking of the Joker, quite a few people were thinking this game would take place years in the future and be based on Batman Beyond because they thought the Joker looked way older than he did in the first game. Most others realized he looked this way because of his use of Titan for the final battle of Asylum, plus the explosive gel punch Batman gave him. With the idea of both Black Mask and Two-Face being featured in the game, plot theories included a gang war between the two, which was an aspect of the actual game, just without Black Mask, and Ra's al Ghul being a villain after his body disappears in Arkham Asylum. The idea of him being the main villain was thrown thrown out there by a few besides Two-Face, with the latter being an easy guess since the website initially referenced him, and you can make a good argument for the former being the correct guess. You can also make an argument for the Joker being the main antagonist, though a good amount of fans hoped he wouldn't be since he already was in Asylum. The craziest thing is people wanting more Riddler trophies and having him appear in person. Both of those wishes definitely came true. People back then, and even still to this day, criticized the boss fights in Arkham Asylum, so there were hopes they would be improved in the sequel and incorporate actual hand-to-hand combat. Other aspects of gameplay had their fair share of hoped-for additions. When it comes to gadgets, things like explosive batarangs, smoke bombs, and the ability to summon bats were on some people's wish lists. Even the idea of being able to drive the Batmobile and go to the Batcave or Wayne Manor had a lot of people excited. Of course, they would have to wait for 2015 to drive around, and there were challenge maps taking you to the cave and the manor. It wasn't exactly what some were thinking, which would have had them be safe houses or secret bases. And staying on the topic of secrets, in March 2010, the hidden room in Warden Sharp's office was revealed to fans, which I'm sure most of you would know teases the sequel. 2 months after that, characters such as Mr. Freeze and Talia al Ghul were confirmed to be featured in the game, and in July, a bunch of domains were registered by WB. These gave some hints at the game's plot and revealed potential titles, with Ashes of Gotham being one of the fan favorites. Fans would only have to wait 1 month to find out which of these domains would be the final title, because issue 209 of Gameinformer would be released, giving an avalanche of new information to the community. The cover confirms Catwoman would be present, and when readers turned to the game's article, they were met with an eye-catching double-page spread of Batman dive bombing. Turning the page gave readers their first look at the actual game. What's shown here obviously would have been an earlier version, so you can still see the Asylum face model and bat signal being used. Graphical improvements, more advanced use of the line launcher, and better traversal mechanics were all shown off in the article. Some liked the name, others not so much, and when it comes to the setting, it being a limited part of Gotham disappointed a few, but the hype level for the vast majority was off the charts, despite having to wait over a year to get their hands on the game. At least in December, a year after the initial reveal, the Hugo Strange trailer would be released, and like the reveal at the VGAs. Before we get to the positive reactions, the main criticisms were the fact that it didn't show any gameplay, since it was just a CG trailer, along with there being no other villains shown off. Those that enjoyed it were saying it was the greatest trailer they had ever seen, and looked almost exactly like real life. To some, even the in-game screenshots from Gameinformer were comparable. Multiplayer and co-op were heavily rumored in the early months of 2011, and although many were excited to see what Rocksteady would have done this time around with those kinds of modes, they were ultimately confirmed to not be features of the game, which actually made some a lot happier, with the idea it would let the single player be as fleshed out and polished as it could be. Before the next trailer would be released in March, another marketing site went up. This one had to do with Tiger Security and wasn't anything special, just giving some information on who and what Tiger is. The oldest version of the site I could get working properly is from 2013, so it probably doesn't have the exact same information as it did initially. Apparently, you were able to click around and one of the links would take you to some mission failed reports. Now we make it to the first gameplay trailer released. The most famous aspect of this one is probably the song Short Change Hero by The Heavy. Fans got to see a bunch of things in action, such as story cutscenes, the better gliding mechanics, and combat, and Arkham City itself, to name a few. Keeping with the momentum, Rocksteady put out another trailer, this one being for Catwoman, and it confirmed she would be a playable character in the game, which hyped up a lot of people, with some even saying her combat looks more fun than Batman's. On the other hand, some weren't too sure if she should be required to play as throughout the game. Robin was also confirmed to be a playable character in the game, but limited to challenge maps, which had some haters happy. When his design was revealed, there were mixed reactions, with some preferring the different take and others thinking it went too far, especially with that haircut. The Riddler also had a dedicated trailer released for him, being the first of the villain trailers. His character was given a darker tone and took some inspiration from Saw with all the death traps and hostages. The Penguin trailer surprised a lot, with Solomon Grundy showing up at the end, having a more Frankenstein's monster design. The coolest villain trailer for some was the one for Mr. Freeze. People liked his design and the idea of his boss battle being a stealth one, which would fulfill earlier wishes of improved boss fights. The final villain trailer, being for the Joker, was uploaded a month before the game's release, and it had some wondering if this would be the final battle between Batman and the Joker. Pretty soon they would find out. Weeks before launch day, the reviews started coming in. 9 out of 10s and 10 out of 10s were being thrown out there. Even the launch trailer wowed the fans. It really was a great trailer and definitely my favorite for the game, which clearly was going to be something special and would certainly surpass the expectations set by Arkham Asylum. If you're like me and were too young at the time to know anything about the reactions to this game, or if you just don't remember it too well, Then here, let me show you.
Overall, Batman Arkham City is a solid title that not only offers a strong plotline, but also simple mechanics that allow for complex and creative combat tactics.
All in all, Batman Arkham City isn't just a game, it's a piece of modern culture that should be treasured, actually.
Arkham City takes a step up from Arkham Asylum. I think they just put this thing full throttle.
And it gets better with each mission, and the cool thing is it starts and you're in. You just hit the ground running.
Rocksteady have made a game that pleases the fans and will please anyone who sits and plays it for more than 5 minutes.
They're definitely a different experience. If you're expecting the same experience from Arkham City that you did from Arkham Asylum, you're going to be disappointed.
I think we've got, essentially the same game we had with Arkham Asylum, just better. So I think we're gonna like it just as much, if not more.
We all agree, definitely get it, definitely rent it if you're a renter. I don't do that.
You own this game. You'll be proud to own it.
You definitely want to own it because there's a lot to do and it's definitely worth the dollar.
You'll be paying a lot of late fees if you rent it.
The beginning of the game is one of the coolest, most unique starts I've ever seen to a game, let alone a Batman game.
This game is fantastic. I give this game a 9 out of 10.
The score, oh my God, is so beautiful. Beautiful. So gorgeous, just the music.
What is your final score?
Well, Joker, I was going to give it a 9.5, but now as we were talking about it more and more, I'm going to have to give this game a perfect 10.
Once again, Rocksteady managed to raise the bar for what a superhero game could be. Regardless of what they would become over a decade later, they solidified a legacy that could never be taken away from them, and created something that gave all of us memories we'll never forget. Without a doubt, in my book, Batman Arkham City is the greatest video game of all time.